But anyway, this one was ugly, guys, and there's all kinds of things we can talk about. Is the Warrior dynasty over? Who stays? Who goes? What the hell, Jordan Poole? What the hell, Klay Thompson? What the hell, Andrew Wiggins? But this one is so frustrating because if the Lakers had come out and played some awesome game, I'd tip my cap to them. But the Warriors just missed. They just missed. They had open shots, and they just missed. And you know what? I felt like a prophet saying to you guys last round or last post game that my biggest fear for Game 6 was that Klay Thompson would try to recreate Game 6 Klay, gun up way too many shots, and shoot them out of it. And literally that's what fucking happened. Klay Thompson, 3 of 19, 2 of 12 from beyond the arc. Wiggins was almost as bad. Didn't make a 3, took 8 shots, made 2 all night. Jordan Poole, just total non-factor. Jordan Poole, after last round against Sacramento, he had a couple good games. This round, he played good game in game 1, 21 points. After game 1, 6, 5, 0, 11, and tonight 7. He shot 3 of 10, 0 from 3 from beyond the arc. That's really it. I mean, we can point to a bunch of things. I'll tell you the other thing that's amazing about this game, looking at the box score, Golden State had 28 more field goal attempts than the Lakers. 28 more shots than the Lakers, and they still got beat by 20. Golden State was just awful from 3. 13 of 45 or 46, 27%, while the Lakers shot 50% from the arc. And then we also talked about free throws. It needed to be close for the Warriors to have a chance. The Lakers shot 42 free throws. The Warriors shot 14. The Lakers shot 28 more free throws. It's not the reason. It wasn't the refs. I'm not saying it's the refs. I'm just saying that is a ridiculous disparity. All right, guys, what stood out to you? I mean, this thing. It was end of first quarter. The first quarter, Lakers came out, built up a big lead, but it was still 31-26 at the end of the first quarter, despite the fact Klay Thompson shot 1 of 8 in that first quarter. It was Lakers by 10 at the half, 56-46, after Reeves hit the deep 3 at the buzzer that Jordan Poole, for whatever reason, just said, I don't need to contest that, and didn't, and that went. So the Warriors were down 10 at the half, and then end of the third quarter, it was 91-77 Lakers, and, of course, they go on for the 122-101 victory, and the Lakers are moving on. Give me your takeaways. Let's go around the room. Baller, go ahead.
I mean, the Splash Bros, 6 of 26 from three-point range. It's hard to win a game when your two snipers are just missing. And not only that, the Warriors got flat out bullied. The Lakers, they were the better, bigger, more physical team, and it showed up. They were getting whatever shot they wanted at will, kicking out to open shooters. LeBron, I mean, it was a vintage LeBron performance. I thought he was spectacular tonight. Looking at his numbers, 10 of 14 from the field, 8 of 11 from the line, 30 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. I mean, LeBron was the best player on the court tonight. This was the first time in my life I had thought, kind of coming into the game, even going, that LeBron had kind of lost a step, like he was good, but maybe he had lost a step. No, not tonight. It was a vintage performance. And we had talked about how, AD and LeBron were going to get theirs and how the Warriors needed to limit some of these role players. And it didn't happen. Austin Reeves with 23, D'Angelo Russell, 19. I mean, it was just bad on multiple levels. Just a really disappointing loss. That's all I got.
Danny?
Yeah, that about says it all.
That says it all. Carl?
There are two things. Number one, the urgency and the electricity of how we're going to come at a road game, game 6 closeout game, just did not look to be apparent for the Warriors in the first 6 minutes of the ball game. There was a casualness that I don't think was a byproduct of a lack of preparation. I think it was just clearly they just couldn't get their sea legs. And when their sea legs did not show up, we could see it in their shooting. You could see the Lakers felt like, hey, we can kind of take control. The Lakers' first 6 possessions were all handled within 13 feet of the basket. The only one that wasn't in the lane was a D'Angelo Russell fadeaway off the left block. And that really started the game off. Needless to say, Baller said it quite well. When you go 6 for 26 with the 2 best shooters all time from the deep perimeter, you're probably not going to have a great night. But the grinding of the second unit guys, DiVincenzo, Moody, GP2, the effort he gave, Looney, what he gave was really, really good. And you could see that they could chip it away. But every time the Warriors got ready to try to make the run, to try to take the lead and really kind of establish some tempo themselves, they just couldn't knock down enough open shots.
Yeah, I hate to simplify it, Foss, but I think you're right. I mean, the bottom line is the Lakers executed their game plan a lot better than the Warriors did. It was a focused attack by the Lakers to get to the basket. I'm sure all these practices, they were telling these guys, don't settle for any jump shots. Let's soften these guys up first. And that's what they did. And from the Warriors' perspective, hey, man, it was disappointing to see what I was watching because our frame of reference always wants to go back to the Warriors at their best. But the reality is it's a year-to-year proposition. And I remember when James Worthy was in year 13, 14, and we remember Big Game James. When his skill level started to erode, it was a precipitous drop. I mean, literally 2 years later, he was out of the league because he didn't have it anymore. And, hey, man, the one thing that I take away from this particular game is I looked at the veterans' body language, the Clays, the Stephs, the Draymond, and they handled themselves like the Hall of Famers that we know they are. They just didn't have it. They couldn't run their offense. So Kerr reluctantly put the ball in Steph's hand and said, yo, go out there and run pick and roll. Because had they ran their offense with Clay and the rest of those guys shooting the way they did, they would have been down 30 at halftime. They were down 10, and emblematic of Jordan Poole, he kind of waved at the guy. There's a big difference psychologically from being down 10 and being down 7, but that's what this team is about. My biggest disappointment for this team is their inability to develop their young players. And, the coaching staff has to own a lot of that because that was frustrating to the fans. It was frustrating to me. And ultimately, it hurt the veteran players. And that was on display tonight.
Too small, too thin. The Warriors are too small of a team. They need more size. And they were way too thin. And this is what happens when you kind of, you don't develop your, what Frank just said. I mean, you don't develop your young talent. You had an 82-game schedule to develop Kuminga and Moody and get them to be big-time rotation players, and they weren't. You didn't do it. You played Lamb. You played other guys. DiVincenzo had a nice game today, for sure. He bounced back. But, Jordan Poole doesn't look like he even knows what he's trying to get done out there. In the last, how many free throw attempts did a 95% free throw shooter even take in this series? What did he take? 5?
Larry, they stopped attacking the rim. Anthony Davis blocked like 11 shots in the first 3 games combined. And it was 11 blocked shots by Anthony. They stopped attacking the rim.
But you know what? I would have said to Jordan, keep attacking the rim, try to jam it. If you're going to go if you're going to try to go around the trees, yeah, he's probably going to block your shot. You just take it right to the front of the rim and try to throw it down. He can either block it clean or he can foul you. But I mean, when you're not shooting it and you're that good of a free throw shooter and you're on a team that has this many guys who can shoot threes and this many and very few guys who can put it on the deck and go to the hole, you got to understand what you can do to help your team win. I don't think Jordan Poole understands that at all. And then, I'll tell you, there's something we got green light in this series too. It's like Green. I don't know if it's because he's going to play with LeBron next year, but he's smiling at the end and he's helping up AD, and he wasn't quite the ferocious competitor Draymond in this series. Not that was the big thing. I don't want to point to that because Draymond elevated while several of the people on this team just evaporated. But it wasn't killer Draymond. It wasn't killer Draymond. Wiggins is, people talk about, oh God, Wiggins this, Wiggins that. And if you can find a deal for Wiggins that you like, I got no problem moving Wiggins. I'm not a Wiggins guy.
That's kind of tough though, Larry. I mean, the guy played tonight with injured ribs. He was wearing some kind of flak jacket on his body. Yeah. I mean, it's very clear he couldn't be as aggressive. Early in the game, LeBron was posting him up from the same side and hitting him with sluggos right in that soft spot. He competed his butt off.
Beyond his play, though,
he missed open shots, though. He missed wide open looks. He got a bunch of open looks. He missed them. So I know. Yeah, he's hurt. Whatever. But still not impressed. And Klay Thompson. I mean, he really shot him out of it. I mean, exactly what I said the other night. Exact thing happened. He was 3 of 19. 3 of 19. That's atrocious. And I'm looking at Klay's points. He averaged 20.6 in the Sacramento series. He got 25 in game 1 against the Lakers, 30 in game 2. And then from that point on, just worse. 15 in game 3, 9 in game 4, 10 in game 5, 8 in game 6 on 3 of 19 shooting. 19 shots when it ain't going. It's like,
but who else is going to shoot it though, Larry? They didn't have any shooters, but they were.
You don't have. Hey, Danny, you don't have to take 12 threes.
Then what do you?
12 threes.
They were open though. They were open.
What did you want him to do? He took open shots.
I said it the other night. What I wanted him to do. I want him to take squared up twos.
He can't get there though.
That's where he can. That's where he lives. That's where he needs to live right now. That's his game right now. He's not. They're all hitting the front rim, Carl. They're all hitting. They're all short. He needs to come in closer.
He had bad games. The guy led the NBA in 3-point makes.
I don't care. This is May. He obviously doesn't have his legs. How many times are you going to hit the front rim before you move in closer? You can't take 12 of your 19 shots from beyond the arc when you're not hitting from beyond the arc.
That's not how their offense is built, Larry.
Well, he's got to take twos. How their offense is built, Carl, is they're going home. I mean, they're going home.
They got beat by a better team.
Yeah, they did. They got beat by a better team. The Lakers.
They should not have taken. He should not have taken 12 of his 19 shots from 3. He should have taken 12 from 2.
But they were open looks, Larry. They're open.
He hit more shots from 3 again than he hit from 2.
I'm just saying. He to me, his looks from 2.
He did not shoot the ball well.
No, he didn't shoot the ball well, but he forced too many threes and too many early threes. And I said it the other night. I said, Klay's going to come out in the first quarter, and he's going to hunt Game 6 Klay, and it's going to shoot him right out of it. And sure enough, they're down early in the first quarter. He shot 1 of 8 from beyond. He shot 1 of 8.
Open shots.
Yeah, they were open. I mean,
he missed.
I don't care. You can't hit the front rim that many times, Carl, and take that many shots. He's not Klay anymore. He's not the same guy anymore. He shouldn't have taken that many shots tonight.
Then you have to put somebody.
Sometimes
else in the
that's the
ballgame
thing.
that
When you
want
live
to
by
do
the
that.
3, you die by the 3. He hit 8 in game 2. You're just gonna. Some nights
He
you're
hit
gonna be
6
off.
in game 1.
He's been off for the last 3 games.
Then
I don't know if you guys have noticed, but his point total has been horrendous. He's had 8, 10, and 9. He hasn't even had 12 points. He hasn't even had 15 since game 3. My point is, you could see this coming a long way away. You could see this coming a long way away. He's hitting the front rim.
Offensively, what would you have done offensively? Take Clay off the floor if he's not making shots. What do you do offensively to get other guys going?
Well, first of all, you've already banished Kuminga and Moody to status where you've kind of wasted them. So they don't at this point. There wasn't a lot to do. Why?
Moody
because their team was very thin and their team was very small. They need to have more size, and they need they need to have more size, and they need to have more depth. And unfortunately, they had Kuminga in the rotation. He fell out of the rotation. They had Lamb in the rotation. They took him out of the rotation. They had Moody going at the end of the year. He was hit and miss. Poole evaporated. I mean, by the end of this series, they're really like a 6-man, 7-man team. Today they got a nice little bench performance out of DiVincenzo. Looney was strong off the bench rebounding, but that's it. That's it. Steph was there was only 2 guys in the Warriors in double figures.
Here's the other thing.
Lakers played good. They're the number 1 defensive team in the league. So the Lakers, Michael Thompson was right. He said the Warriors need a big man. They're going to miss having a big man.
For what?
Because
the Warriors were the best, even if the Lakers are the best defensive team in the league, that's not what won them the game. The Warriors missed open shots.
They have an unconventional offense, and
yes, they do.
Defense wins. It's always won, and that's the reality of it. The one thing that Clay doesn't understand, and he didn't have to when he was, Game 6 Clay in his prime. He's not in his prime anymore. Clay doesn't really understand time and sequence. When the ball touches Clay's hand and he assesses that it is a good shot, the ball goes up. Now, in previous years, that's fine because the ball also was going in. But when you're not shooting at a high clip, maybe you make the extra pass. Clay generally doesn't do that. Clay doesn't really – I know he can't get all the way to the basket, but he can take a dribble or 2 beyond the 3-point line sometimes. I'm not saying don't shoot, but there are some things that he's going to have to do in the summer to expand his offensive game. Just run into the corner, run into the 3-point line from a pass from Steph or whomever. That's not working right now unless he just becomes a different player than he was this year because he has to shoot at a 40% clip because defensively he's not the same player. Dan said it earlier. The fact that D'Angelo Russell and even Austin Reeves, I like him. He's a second-year guy. He should not be scoring 25 points against a guy who is a, quote, legitimate defensive player. So there's a lot there that needs to be fixed by next year. It can get better. But Game 6 Clay, vintage Clay, those days are gone, man.